Rikers, inside New York's most dangerous prison. Subscribe for more real crime stories. Like, share, and join the discussion below. The sound of alarms cut through the air like knives. Red lights flashed along the narrow concrete hallway of Rikers Island's North facility. Guards ran past shouting orders, their radios crackling with panic. Code red. Tier C. Riot in progress. Somewhere behind the thick steel doors, a fight had broken out. Not just fists, but makeshift weapons carved from toothbrushes, metal scraps, and fear. An inmate lay on the floor, bleeding from a wound near his neck. Others screamed, banging on their cell doors. The air was thick with sweat, tension, and the sour smell of pepper spray. In the chaos, one voice kept shouting, "He's not moving. He's not moving." Officer Ramirez, one of the younger guards, pushed through the noise, heart pounding. He'd only been at Rikers for 6 months and had already seen things he'd never forget. Stabbings, beatings, and moments when even the guards looked more scared than the inmates. As he reached Tier C, he froze. The man on the floor was Dante Harris, a name everyone knew. Dante wasn't just any inmate, he was one of the few who dared to speak out against the gangs that ran Rikers from the inside. He had told a reporter weeks ago that he feared for his life. Now, he wasn't breathing. Officers tried to restore order, pushing men back into their cells. The metal doors slammed shut, echoing like thunder. A medic rushed in, kneeling beside Dante. "We've got no pulse," she shouted. The room went silent for half a second before someone yelled, "Close the tier." The gate clanked shut, trapping the men inside. On the other side, Ramirez watched as the medic pressed her hands against Dante's chest. Each push seemed hopeless. He could already see how this would play out: another inmate death, another report buried under excuses. Outside the cell block, inmates banged on the walls, shouting Dante's name. The sound rolled through the corridors like an earthquake. It was more than grief. It was fury. Everyone knew what this meant. If Dante was dead, the fragile peace between two powerful gangs was broken. By nightfall, the entire facility could erupt. As officers cleared the hallway, Ramirez turned away, his mind racing. He had heard rumors about guards helping gangs smuggle in weapons, about officers turning a blind eye if it meant keeping their own lives safe. Maybe Dante had pushed too far, said too much. The warden's voice boomed over the intercom. "All units, lockdown effective immediately." The prison fell into an eerie silence, broken only by distant shouts. In that moment, everyone, guards and inmates alike, understood what was coming next. Because at Rikers, death didn't end the violence. It started it. And as night fell over the island, something far worse was about to begin. The morning after Dante Harris's death, Rikers Island was a ticking bomb. The sun rose over the East River, but inside the walls, time seemed frozen. Every corridor buzzed with whispers about who killed Dante, about who would be next. Some inmates said it was a gang hit. Others swore a guard had a hand in it. Nobody trusted anyone, not even the ones wearing badges. Officer Ramirez sat in the control room, staring at the monitors. Each camera showed a different piece of the chaos. Inmates pacing in their cells, guards patrolling with nervous eyes, medics pushing stretchers past open gates. On one screen, graffiti scrawled across a cell door read, "Justice for Dante." He knew that message wasn't just words. It was a warning. Later that morning, the warden called an emergency meeting. The room smelled of burnt coffee and frustration. "We've got a situation," the warden said, slamming a report onto the table. "Inmates are claiming we let this happen, that one of our own supplied the weapon." The room went quiet. Ramirez felt his chest tighten. He'd heard things, guards taking cash to smuggle in blades or phones, food traded for silence. It was an open secret at Rikers. Everyone knew, but no one spoke. Meanwhile, on the cell block, tension grew thicker by the hour. Dante's closest friend, Marcus "Slim" Taylor, refused to eat or leave his cell. He sat on his bunk, staring at the wall. Everyone knew Slim ran with a crew loyal to Dante. If he decided to strike back, blood would spill. At lunchtime, the silence cracked. Two rival groups clashed in the cafeteria, Trays flew, tables overturned, fists slammed into flesh. Guards shouted for order, but it was useless. Inmates swarmed like a wave, breaking past barriers. One officer hit the panic button. Sirens screamed again. Ramirez ran in, ducking behind a table as pepper spray filled the air. The smell burned his lungs. Through the haze, he saw Slim being dragged away, screaming Dante's name. After the chaos cleared, the cafeteria looked like a war zone. Food splattered across the floor, a broken chair smeared with blood, water from busted pipes flooding underfoot. 20 inmates were injured. 2 guards were taken out on stretchers. And still, no one dared speak about who started it. That night, lockdown returned. Cells clanged shut. The sound echoed through the dark halls. Ramirez walked the tier slowly, flashlight beam cutting through shadows. Somewhere down the block, an inmate whispered, "This ain't over." Another voice replied, "Wait till tomorrow." As Ramirez turned the corner, his radio crackled. "Officer down, South Wing." He froze. His pulse spiked. Someone had attacked a guard. The riot wasn't spreading. It had already begun. And this time, no one was in control. The siren screamed through Rikers like a storm that wouldn't stop. Red lights flashed against the concrete walls, turning the hallways into a nightmare of shadows. Officer Ramirez sprinted toward the South Wing, his boots pounding the floor. When he arrived, chaos had already taken over. A guard lay on the ground, blood pooling beneath his shoulder, while 2 inmates fought over a dropped baton. The air smelled like sweat, metal, and fear. "Lock it down. Lock it down now," Ramirez shouted, his voice cracking through the noise. Other officers rushed in, swinging batons, forcing inmates back into their cells. But the damage was done. Word spread fast that a guard had been stabbed. Every gang saw it as a chance to rise. Within minutes, another fight broke out on the next tier. It was like a chain reaction, one spark setting the whole place on fire. In the control tower, alarms flashed across the screens. "We're losing Section C," someone yelled over the radio. The warden's voice came through, tense and broken. "All available units, respond. I repeat, full facility lockdown." But inside Rikers, control was already slipping. Marcus, Slim, Taylor watched it all unfold from his cell. His eyes burned with anger, but also something colder, purpose. He'd spent the whole night planning his next move. Dante's death wasn't going to fade away. Word on the tier was that a guard named Walker had been the one to let the knife in. Whether it was true or not didn't matter anymore. To Slim, someone had to pay. As the power flickered, the cell doors buzzed and, for a split second, jammed halfway open. The backup generators had failed. It was all the chance Slim needed. He slipped out with 2 others, moving fast through the shadows. The sound of shouting echoed behind them. "They're out. Inmates are out." Ramirez heard the call and turned a corner just in time to see Slim running toward the medical unit. "Stop right there," Ramirez yelled. Slim froze, eyes meeting his. "You think locking us in cages fixes anything?" Slim spat. "Dante died because this place is rotten." Ramirez took a step closer, his hand hovering near his taser. "Don't do this, Slim. You'll only make it worse." But before Ramirez could react, another explosion of shouting erupted from behind them. A door crashed open. Dozens of inmates poured into the hall, faces masked with torn shirts. The lights cut out completely, leaving only the faint glow of emergency lamps. In the darkness, all Ramirez could hear were footsteps, metal clanging, and the faint sound of someone whispering, "Tonight, Rikers burns." He gripped his radio, breathing hard. "Control, this is Ramirez. We've lost containment. South Wing is gone." Static filled the line. Then silence. The entire prison had gone dark, and Rikers Island was no longer under control.